Crime and punishment through the ages. Humanity has grappled with crime since the dawn of civilization. Every society, regardless of its era, has sought to define, control, and punish those who transgress its laws. Examining these methods reveals not only the evolution of justice, but also the changing values and beliefs of different cultures. This is a journey through time, exploring how diverse societies addressed crime and punishment. From ancient codes to modern reforms, we'll uncover the fascinating and often brutal history of humanity's attempts to maintain order. Prepare to witness the evolution of justice, a reflection of our ever-changing world. One of the earliest known legal codes comes from ancient Mesopotamia. The Code of Hammurabi, inscribed on a massive stone stele, laid out a system of laws and punishments. Its principle of an eye for an eye is infamous, but it also aimed to establish a consistent standard of justice. The code covered a wide range of offenses, from theft and assault to property disputes and family matters. Punishments varied depending on the social status of both the victim and the perpetrator. While harsh by modern standards, the Code of Hammurabi represented a significant step towards formalized law. Ancient Egyptian society was deeply rooted in the concept of Ma'at, representing truth, justice, and cosmic order. Crime was seen as a disruption of this divine balance, requiring restoration through punishment. The pharaoh, as the embodiment of Ma'at, was responsible for upholding justice. Punishments in ancient Egypt ranged from fines and forced labor to mutilation and execution. The severity of the punishment often depended on the nature of the crime and the social standing of the offender. Maintaining social harmony was paramount, and justice served as a tool to achieve it. Early Greek society relied heavily on personal vengeance and blood feuds. Gradually, city-states began to develop more formalized systems of justice. Athenian democracy introduced the concept of public trials and citizen juries. Punishments in ancient Greece included fines, exile, imprisonment, and execution. The death penalty was often reserved for serious crimes like murder and treason. While justice was becoming more formalized, it was still influenced by social status and political considerations. The Roman Empire developed a sophisticated legal system that influenced Western law for centuries. Roman law distinguished between different types of crimes and established procedures for trials and appeals. The concept of innocent until proven guilty began to emerge. Punishments in the Roman Empire varied depending on the crime and the social status of the offender. Lower classes faced harsher penalties, including crucifixion and gladiatorial combat. Roman law aimed to maintain order and stability throughout its vast empire. The Middle Ages saw a decline in centralized legal systems, with justice often administered by feudal lords and the church. Trial by ordeal, where guilt or innocence was determined by surviving a dangerous task, was a common practice. Superstition and religious beliefs played a significant role in the administration of justice. Punishments in the Middle Ages were often brutal and public, intended to deter others from committing crimes. Torture, mutilation, and public executions were common. The concept of due process was largely absent, and justice was often arbitrary and unfair. The Renaissance witnessed a renewed interest in classical learning, including Roman law. Legal scholars began to re-examine and refine legal principles. The rise of nation-states led to the development of more centralized legal systems. Punishments during the Renaissance remained harsh, but there was a growing emphasis on proportionality and deterrence. Imprisonment became a more common form of punishment. The seeds of modern legal thought were being sown. The Enlightenment brought a focus on reason, individual rights, and the reform of criminal justice systems. Thinkers like Cesare Beccaria argued for humane punishments and the abolition of torture. The concept of rehabilitation began to emerge. Punishments during the Enlightenment started to become less brutal and more focused on deterrence and reform. The death penalty was increasingly questioned. The foundations for modern criminal justice systems were being laid. The 18th and 19th centuries saw the rise of the prison as a primary form of punishment. Reformers believed that prisons could rehabilitate offenders through discipline, education, and religious instruction. the penitentiary system was developed, emphasizing solitary confinement and reflection. Punishments during this era shifted away from public displays of violence towards incarceration. However, prisons were often overcrowded and unsanitary, and rehabilitation efforts were not always successful. The debate over the purpose and effectiveness of prisons continues to this day. Modern criminal justice systems are characterized by a focus on due process, individual rights, and rehabilitation. The concept of restorative justice, which emphasizes repairing the harm caused by crime, has gained prominence. Technology plays an increasingly important role in crime detection and prevention. Punishments in the 20th and 21st centuries vary widely, from fines and probation to imprisonment, and, in some countries, the death penalty. The debate over the appropriate balance between punishment, deterrence, and rehabilitation continues. The challenges of crime in a globalized world require ongoing innovation and reform. The history of crime and punishment is a reflection of humanity's ongoing struggle to balance justice, order, and individual rights. From the harsh codes of ancient civilizations to the complex legal systems of today, societies have constantly sought to define and respond to crime. While methods have changed dramatically over time, the fundamental questions remain: how do we deter crime? How do we punish offenders fairly? And how do we create a just and equitable society? The search for answers continues.